Kate here. Today we're talking with Sarah, who runs the Lead Generation Lab. This is a fantastic program that walks people through 90 days of learning how to put together lead generation. I love what she's doing because she takes an experimental approach, something that a lot of course creators could learn a lot from, because it doesn't always work the first time, nor should it. When you're trying something new, it's okay to try and fail. That's part of the process. All right, we got Sarah here. So Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about your program?
Thank you so much, Kate, for this opportunity. My program, I call it the Lead Generation Lab. And it's a lab because we are experimenting with so many strategies and narrowing them down to the ones that are working for your business. And for this period, we are doing a 90-day lead generation process that is going to help your business focus, build relationships, and also stay consistent.
I really like this idea of an experimental approach, because sometimes people get so emotionally tied to one thing that they might create for lead gen and then feel like they failed because it didn't work, rather than saying, hey, let's go ahead and let's change this up quite a bit. I feel the same way with courses too. Like, people spend a lot of time putting together their program or their courses, and they're not thinking like, let's see if this works or let's see if that works. Instead, they're thinking, I'm going to create this incredible course and people are going to get transformed and changed, without thinking that it takes time to really land on just the right thing. So I know when we talked, I really, I might adopt the whole thing of experimental myself, because it is completely aligned with what I feel, just in general, not in courses, not in lead gen, but like, gosh, even in parenting.
True.
If this way doesn't work with my child, let me try that way. It's a good life approach. So why is this important to you?
It has worked for my business. I have used this lead generation lab, which is a 3-step process since September last year. And I was able to get the clients that I've always wanted to work with. Let me give an example of a world-class coach that I work with in Australia. And over the years, we have been able to customize strategies for her business depending on the programs that she's running. So just like you said, that you might have a strategy that is working for one business, but there are strategies that might end up not working for another business. Like, maybe I send out massive cold messages for my program, but at the end of the day, I'm not able to get the feedback that I'm expecting, or I'm not able to get the clients that I'm expecting for my program. So what happens is that what works for one client might not work for another. So I believe the best thing is to try and to test, and also focus on a specific strategy, see how it works for your business, see how it transforms your business, and you can come up with an analysis. Will I move on with it? Will I use it for my next program? If it doesn't work, that means we have to try something else. So what I can say about the reason why I came up with this lead generation lab is because I have seen it work for myself and also for my clients. And I know for entrepreneurs, it will also work for them, as long as we know exactly what they're looking for, what their goals are, what they want to focus on for that period of time. Because one thing I noticed is that sometimes you have so much that you're focusing on. I want to do this, then after this, I want to finish this, then I want to finish this. But the best thing is to just focus on one thing, so that even the lead generation can work for your business and the strategies can work for your business.
That is really cool. Why don't you tell us a little bit about why a client is wanting to take your program?
One thing is the accountability. That is the reason why the entrepreneur or the ideal client that I would want to work with would be willing to take this program. So we as an agency, because I own an agency, we are an accountable team. And the first thing I tell my team members is that be ready to learn what the client is looking for, what the client wants us to achieve, what the client is looking to achieve in the 90 days that we plan on working with them. The other thing is that we are focused. We are laser focused purely on lead generation. Because one thing I realized is that if you're doing so many other things, it's not easy to give value. So my team and I are focused on three things. And these three things are building relationships, messaging, and follow-up. So these are the three things that we focus on. And all those other things, I call them noise. I can say it's like my tagline. Small things or small goals, high value. So we focus on these three things. We focus on the messaging. We focus on building relationships. We focus on follow-up. And I believe with this, it's easier for my clients to reach their goals. Are you looking to get to 10K? Are you looking to get to 30K? So that is what I would say.
Awesome. Correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like you handle the lead generation for somebody who's far along and they let you concentrate on your zone of genius. But your institute isn't for that person, right? The institute is for the startup, the person who wants to figure out lead generation. That's specifically what I'm talking about, because my specialty, my zone of genius is the learning person. So I understand instructional design. If somebody is incredibly great and they're coach to coaches, she probably isn't going to go through your institute to learn lead generation. She's probably just going to hand it over to you and say, please do your thing, right?
Yes.
But for the startup who wants to learn, that's the kind of client that I want to talk about, because I want to know what somebody doesn't know and has to learn, and then come out on the other side and say, Sarah, this is amazing. I feel like I know lead generation. Walk me through that. What is it like for somebody who is brand new, like doesn't know lead generation? You described a little bit. They feel unsure. They're not sure if they're in the right river or pond or stream or in the right place.
Yeah.
And they feel like a little lost in this world. And they probably, if they're like me, when I was brand new, think organic marketing is exhausting.
Yes, it is. So I can say my institute, the Lead Generation Institute, is for startups. And it's also for somebody who's looking to scale, because I have people who do not understand what lead generation is at all. And most of them are service providers, or at the same time, a coach or a consultant who's also looking to do lead generation for their business by themselves, but they don't understand where to start. Because when you're starting, most of the time you are everything. You're the accountant, you are the VA, you are the coach, you're everything. So I believe it's also good to understand not just a few, but understand the concepts of lead generation. Also, another person who's like in the middle and their business is doing very well. They're doing around 5 to 10 clients every month, or that year, she or he has 10 clients, but they're looking to move from this level to the next level, to a higher level. This is also the institute for you. This is the place to be in terms of scaling your business. I can say I do mini courses, depending on, because right now I have those people who are starting up, but I do not have the people who are like in the middle. I have a request, Sarah, I would love to get to 5 figures. I would love to get to my consistent 30K for this year. So what steps do I need to take? So this is also the place for you. And we will take you through so many things that you need to learn. That includes copywriting, that also includes business management and branding. You learn about lead generation, and all this will help you scale your business to the next level.
All right. So that kind of gives you an idea of where they are and what they want to learn. Give me an idea of, and this can be hypothetically speaking. Let's say that you have somebody who's a startup. They don't really know what they need to know. They've got something they're brilliant at. Maybe they're a service provider, or a lot of the people who are watching this video, they want to be a course creator. So they're looking to create a course, but they don't have any audience. And so let's say they sign up with you and they go through this institute.
Yeah.
What is the best possible result you could want to create for this brand new entrepreneur?
The best results I would love to create for them is have them in front of the right audience, because most of the time when I get into meetings with my potential clients or my clients, they tell me, okay, I know you see that my posts get a lot of likes and I'm actually getting my emails read, but I don't get any responses. You can put out a post that you're running a course. You see so many people are liking the post, but there's no conversion. So the first thing is building relationships with the right people. And this is what I would take them through. This is the process to getting you the right audience, and this is the process to getting you the right clients. So when they choose to join the Lead Generation Institute, we will be taking them through the first month of building relationships. And then the next step, it's good to see, is this working? It's not working. So let me try something else. Is it working? Still not working. So it's also a try and test. The second month would be a try and test month. And the third one would be, now we are ready to go out there and show the world what we're made of, see what we can get out of the course that we have gone through for the last 90 days. So the first month is building relationships. The other one is trying and testing, checking what is working. And the third one is now building and making sure that whatever is working, we are putting all the energy on what is working.
First of all, is this a 90-day program or a 10-week program?
Yes.
90-day?
90-day, yeah.
Okay. It sounds like what they're learning from you is confidence,
Yes.
analysis. If something works or doesn't work, you're not
Yes.
blaming yourself. You're trying to see what are the aspects I can test and
Yes.
tweak, which is a complete mind shift change too, for a lot of
Yes.
people, I would think. And then you're
Mhm.
also working on accountability.
Yes.
So, and then of course, I'm guessing that you would also introduce a lot of different strategies so they can try out which strategy
Yes.
is best and they can customize it. This is really
Yes.
good. Now, some of this stuff that you have is super easy to share with people. It's like, here
Yeah.
are 4 different strategies and here's why they work. But the others, you're talking about changing the way they see themselves in their business and their results. That's harder. So how do you do that?
I can say it's really hard, but it also depends. There are a few things we have to check, especially when we are bringing people in to the Lead Generation Institute. Consistency. Because one thing that is missing out with startups is consistency. Because, you know, you cannot say that you'll do the first 10 days and then you'll drop out for 20 days and then you join back for another 10 days. Let me tell you, you have to be consistent. And that is one thing that you have to sign up for before you join the Lead Generation Institute. For us, even you, Kate, you know that consistency is key to everything that we are doing and each and every step that we are taking in our businesses. So I believe building confidence depends on consistency. How consistent are you? The more consistent you are, the more confidence you build.
I agree with the consistency, but I almost feel like it needs to have a disclaimer to say that you need to be consistent in showing up for yourself, not necessarily consistently doing all the same things, because sometimes it is important to look at the data and say, that isn't working, I need to change that. And that isn't being inconsistent to change your approach. And I think that's the whole premise behind experimental. Let's try this for 5 days. And then let's evaluate, did it work? Did it get us the results? And if it didn't, let's try a different thing. But that's consistently showing up for yourself, not necessarily being stuck. What I see is a lot of people will continue doing the same thing over and over and over again, and they think that's consistency. And it's not if it isn't working.
Yes, you've put it the right way. And I think showing up for ourselves and also showing up for our businesses is also very important.
Yeah, I agree. Let's say that you're working with somebody who's brand new, they're a new entrepreneur, and they come in probably like most of us brand new, like they think that maybe they created a course, or they think that they, put out their shingle that says, I'm going to coach you in this. And
Yes.
people should just show up. They don't really know, oh, I have to actually become a marketer of myself. So let's say they go from that and they enroll in your institute. What is it that you see in them that says, aha, they got it? Even maybe before they know it.
I believe it's the right attitude. That's the first thing. It depends on your attitude, your mindset. Like, are you ready to learn? Are you ready? Are you open? Because being in digital marketing, I've seen so many changes over the years. I've seen so much changing. And I believe if you're not open-minded, if you are not ready to learn new things, it's not going to be easy for you. Let's say even working with a client has also been hard, especially when the client is fixed and they are like, this is what will work, Sarah, and I don't believe anything else can work. So that would be very, very hard for things to start working out for you in just 90 days. So have an open mind when you're coming to the Lead Generation Institute. Be ready to learn. Be ready to be accountable. Be ready to show up for yourself and for your business.
When you are attracting your clients to your institute, you are going to be looking for people who are consistent and people who have an open mind.
Yes.
Ready to learn. So they've got the right mindset. That's awesome.
Yes.
I know that one of the difficulties in creating a transformational type of course, a course that clarifies their value systems, or one that changes their perspective about something, and I think yours does, it changes their perspective in their business. One of the key aspects to that being successful is to bring in people who are ready for that transformation also. Because your course can be awesome, it can be perfect, but if you're bringing in people who are not yet ready for that, and I say that because I do believe everybody can transform, but I do believe that people are not always ready for it yet. So they haven't gotten to whatever place they need to get to in their own lives in order to be open to it. But for those people who are ready for it, it's important to look for those aspects before you bring them in to your
Yes.
organization. So I think it's good that you have that idea of prerequisites. Experimental sounds cool, but when you're experimenting on something that's so core to you, it can feel like an evaluation of yourself. What does it feel like as they go through and assess how well they're doing at marketing themselves? Like, is that a fun process? Is it an uncomfortable process? Do you expect that they'll probably have moments of crying and moments of celebration, that sort of thing?
Yes, and one thing I know is that every time we have a program running, we have something we call a checklist, a weekly checklist that we've put out. Okay, this week, this is what we want to accomplish. And let's say that week you've been going through, maybe somebody died, or you're going through relationship issues, or you're going through money issues, and you don't have the energy to put in that effort for whatever task or challenge that we have for that. You will go back to the checklist. And all of us, in 90 days, you can't say that you'll be motivated from day 1 to day 90. There are days that you will feel like, okay, I think I'm done with this course. It was just a waste of time. I don't think I can go on from here. So I feel this checklist will show you, okay, I need to put on effort. At least I tried. And I think next week, if I get another chance, I would love to complete. And that's why also I have seen in institutions that the moment you fail a test, you have a chance to retake. You have a chance to do it again.
Do you find yourself sometimes in the position of encouraging people to do it again, to try it again, to keep going?
Yes, so many times. And so many times I am encouraging somebody on a position where I'm also discouraged myself, because sometimes you're also feeling down. And the biggest strength that you can have is putting your own issues aside and being able to encourage someone else. that is one of the most powerful things I can say as a lead generation expert, that sometimes we have to step out of our own world to step into someone else's world and understand them on their level.
Absolutely. I appreciate that quite a bit. I think empathy is one of the most important aspects of creating a successful program, coaching program, or course. I'm guessing it's probably super important in lead generation too, because you need to empathize with your client in order to create something that they'll want to opt in on also.
Yes.
So what is your biggest challenge in creating this institute and creating learners who turn into lead generation experts?
Let me be honest. The first challenge was to start because there's a lot of noise out there. Noise in terms of free groups, free masterclasses, free programs, free this, free that. I wanted to create a community where I will give value on the experience I have as a lead generation expert. I don't want to use strategies that were used 5 years ago. They have gone stale, they're not working, but just because it's free, I am offering them out to people. So that is the major challenge I've had, having to talk when other people are making noise. Let me just be honest. Like having to talk, it's like you're asking people to listen to you, but you're feeling like nobody is listening. So that was the first challenge I had. And the second one is finding the right experts so that we can work together. I believe that collaboration is one of the best ways of growing businesses. So if you want to get to the next level. So my biggest problem was finding the right experts to work with me. And I can say I found the right set of people to give the right skills to my students, because I realized that I might have a business coach, I might have a life coach, but they don't have the time to actually share or sit down with my team, sit down with my students and talk to them. So I needed somebody who could create time. I needed somebody who had a lot of knowledge on lead generation, on how to scale up businesses. And I'm grateful that I am currently working with people who have been on the online business for more than 15 years. And these are people who have been my mentors and who are still mentoring other people. So the other challenge with looking for people has been getting people to believe that mastermind groups really work. Okay, all of us love free things. We love free course. We love, somewhere we can get all this free value. But I believe that the moment you pay for something, you are accountable. I am a Christian, and I believe if Jesus did die for us on the cross, our salvation would not be of value. You would be like, okay, I'm born again, but okay, who paid the price? Okay, what was the price? So I usually say that when there's a price tag on something, it's easier for you to be accountable. But when something is free, you always put it on the back of the table, like, okay, I will read it tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes, you're like, okay, I still don't feel this time. I will check it next week. So the same thing, the moment you've paid a price for something, it's easier for you to follow up. It's easier for you to be accountable. It's easier for you to be focused.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would also say when you feel connected to the person that's giving you the information, you feel more accountable. Like, I don't want to let you down. You spend time with me. You're teaching me like what I need to do for lead gen. And I don't want to let you down. I don't want to have to face you next week and go, yeah, well, I was a little busy last week, so I didn't get it. I didn't get to it. So I think connection is another key. Also, as a Christian, I would say connection with God makes us accountable to living the type of life that he would have us live, that connection with him. And again, recognizing that salvation isn't free. It was paid for. So, in a very high cost.
Yes.
Okay. So I think that probably if you have not already done this, I would recommend that you look to gamify your lead generation lab. And I say gamify because when you are in your lab and you have experiments and some fail and some succeed, it can be kind of a hard hit for each one of those failures. But think about when you're playing video games, if you lose or fail a level, you just restart and you do it again. And gamification has a way of recognizing wins and losses. My son, in some of the games that he plays, if he loses a level, all of the loot that he gathered in that level, he still gets to keep that and accumulate it. And it becomes that he also knows how to beat that level better because he's learned the map, he's learned the territory better. And so he can succeed better with the objectives. People talk about gamify, and it doesn't mean you turn your lab into a game. That's not it. But look at what works in games and catches people's attention and keeps them focused. Like games are fantastic for luring people in to play hours at a time without realizing that they did it. And it's because it taps into the way our brain works when it's in flow. So don't turn your lab into a game, but take the items from a game and put them in your lab. And that has to do with like maybe if there's any stories that you can integrate. I definitely think a leaderboard could help. And maybe the leaderboard isn't necessarily wins versus losses, but maybe the number of posts they did, or maybe it's new strategies tried. Like how many different new strategies have you tried and been consistent with? Like maybe they get rewarded for, I'm going to give you a new strategy and you've tried it for 7 days and you're willing to look at those results. And so that way you can help compensate for the disappointment that happens through a failure by recognizing the progress that's being made. So that is probably the biggest instructional design tip I can give you for your lead generation lab. So I love lead generation lab. I think that's a beautiful title. Do you have any further questions for me?
I would like to know, what are your success stories in terms of people you've worked with and with their programs and they have been successful? I would love to hear your success.
Probably my most successful program is a program that I released in 2015. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to quite match the accomplishment of this particular program because it was so phenomenal. And in this, I worked for a company and the senior vice president wanted to make serious injuries and fatalities in the industrial areas to go away completely. And this is a huge, really good goal. Like nobody wants anybody to go to work and then get seriously injured or fatally injured in work. That's just not okay. And yet it happens in industrial environments all the time. And so many times people say, well, that's the cost of doing business. And fortunately, I worked for a company where the guy who was in charge of the industrial area says, no, that's not okay. I'm not okay with it anymore. So we put together a workshop. We called it a Safety Leadership Academy, and it was specifically for the managers of the industrial areas. And we started with the ones who had been in industrial areas for a very, very long time. They felt like they were safe, and so there was no need for them to change. And that's, of course, we're bringing them into a thing and we're saying, it's not okay the way that it is today. It's not okay the way it's being run. Our culture is not good. You think it's safe and it's not safe. And so we had to shake it up quite a bit. We did some really, really interesting things in that workshop. And over the course of 5 years, we changed the culture. I mean, we literally changed the culture. And I can go into the strategies of how we did that. And we used some really interesting strategies. But the reason it worked is because we had a large number of people who helped this workshop work. Now, I designed the whole thing, so it really was my design, but I had facilitators that I worked with, the legal people helped, the safety people helped, the industrial managers helped. So everybody contributed to make this work. It was a goal worth shooting for. But to see the company culture change is amazing. When we started, people said, well, I do what I'm supposed to do. I do what's safe because I know I'm going to get fired if I don't. And at the end of 5 years, it's like, well, of course I'm safe because I wouldn't want to let my teammates down. I wouldn't want to let my family down. So even like, not only was it safer, but there are reasons for being safe. And this is hourly people who never went to this workshop. So you're not talking about just changing the managers. It changed the people at the lower levels who never went to this workshop. their reasons for being safe changed. So that's probably the most crazy change I've ever had in a workshop. And it was really good. There was plenty of other things that I've done too. I'm working with a coach right now that's a marketing coach, and we're putting her stuff together in a non-linear framework. So it's like all of her genius in a micro learning library. So if people want to learn something about something like branding or storytelling, she has all of that organized in a way that you can go and find it and take it in whatever order you want. So access to her program gives you access to that library.
And I like the word micro because I don't have a lot of attention for, like reading very long stuff. So micro is good.
Well, it depends. I mean, it really depends. So let's say that you could watch a video that's very short about one aspect of storytelling that's fabulous, and you get it.
Yes.
But you could also, and I could create a week-long workshop that goes deep into storytelling. And so there is sometimes a need for something very short and poignant and one workable, point to make. And then there's a need, like if you really, really want to go deep, you would probably be the type of person who would say, let me go sign up for a week-long workshop on how to really and genuinely tell a story, because you can't do the deep work in a micro learning segment. So there's a purpose for both, and there's a purpose for everything in between. But I like micro learning too. It's easy to
it's fast, it's easy, it's fast, easy to grasp.
Yeah, you won't get the same depth that you would in a week-long workshop, but you can easily get one thing and make a change. So I do know that your type of business is the type of business that new course creators would want, because a lot of people want to go ahead and create a course, but they haven't really thought about building an audience. And a lot of them have really good, in fact, I actually haven't met anybody who wants to create a course that has a bad idea. It hasn't happened. And I think maybe it's because people are already self-selecting ideas before they come and talk.
I actually did a live yesterday. I don't know if you saw it on my profile. On building relationships. I think I would start reaching out to course creators. And I was talking about the 3 ways you can build relationships: collaborate, engage, and connect. So most of the time people are like, hi, I want you to join my group. Okay, you think that is the easiest way to build relationships, but most of the time people see beyond that and they're like, I know you just want me to buy something from you, so I will not join your group. So I feel it's good to collaborate in whatever way, like just what we are doing right now, or in any other way. Just do something like a barter exchange, something, come up with an idea of how you as a course creator can collaborate with other people, or those people who are in your niche, your client avatar. Look for those people and look for ways of how you're going to.
I agree. I really love your program. I really love this idea. And I've been experimenting for a while about the whole idea of experimenting with your course in very, very early stages and not trying to create it all in your own box and then releasing something that's so isolated from working with people. So I think that what you are offering is exactly the kind of thing that is so aligned with what my messaging is lately too. So I'm so excited. I think it's awesome.
Thank you so much. I'm also excited that I had this opportunity to talk about the Lead Generation Institute.
So there you have it. We had a great interview with Sarah. We learned a lot about gamification and her lead generation lab. If you're interested in learning more about her program, click the link below and you can check it out. If you're interested in seeing more about what I do, you can check that link out too. Be sure to like and subscribe.